All right, third question. Mr. Ferrero, where do you stand on the possible decriminalization of recreational marijuana? If it is not decriminalized, what are your views on sentencing?
Okay. Well, first of all, I'm against decriminalization of marijuana. They put that on the ballot last November, and I was against it, as well as the Ohio Prosecutors Association. We took a stand at it. It was not the right issue. I think, first of all, the recreational marijuana use we were against. And second of all, I think the way they had it set up was the monopoly issue, as far as the people who was going to make a lot of money by selling that. The part now, and I think the issue we're going to face, is that they're going to keep coming back to putting it on the ballot, and we're going to keep opposing that. The Ohio House passed this week a bill that deals with medicinal use of marijuana. It's a very restrictive bill, and it's sort of to head off this group that is going to keep putting this issue on the ballot. And if people feel that, okay, that they could use marijuana for medicinal purposes, maybe they will vote against that when it gets on the ballot again. And I just saw in a poll that 90% of Ohioans back marijuana for medicinal uses, but as far as recreational use, I think you're going to have opposition on that. And as far as people who get arrested for possession of marijuana, most of those are misdemeanor cases. We handle the felonies. The felonies are the ones where you are either selling it, or you are caught with a large amount of marijuana. And I can tell you that our jails and prisons are not filled up with people who have been caught with their selling pot. I think they were either given probation or other kind of things by the court. But it's an issue that I am against, and will always be against.
1 minute response?
Yes.
And then my turn. Well, in response to what Mr. Ferrero says, the only people we see going to prison in marijuana cases are large cultivators in this area. There's some mandatory prison terms that are required in cultivation cases. We just simply aren't, frankly, I don't think the prosecutor's office is asking for prison sentences on people that are trafficking in marijuana. So we just don't see that. And on my 2-minute response to that is, I had mixed feelings about the legalization, because obviously, the criminals are making money off this, and legalization would stop that. But Colorado has had the actual experience of what legalization has done. They legalized marijuana in 2013, and they found some very disturbing statistics since that time. They have found that traffic fatalities involved with marijuana increased by 32%. They found that now their average the users between the ages of 12 and 17 increased by 59%.
That was your response?
Yes.
Would you like to hear the question again?
Yeah.
Where do you stand on the possible decriminalization of recreational marijuana? If it is not decriminalized, what are your views on sentencing?
Well, I am against the legalization of marijuana because I have seen and read if you'll read it, it's the impact of legalization in the state of Colorado. And the points that they made that were most disturbing was how much increase they have between 12 and 17-year-olds in the use of marijuana. And they found that all of them get that from people who obtain it legally. So that is a very disturbing statistic. They took a survey of school resource officers and school counselors. And these counselors were unanimous, saying it's had a terrible impact on education in the state of Colorado. Kids come to school stoned, they go out and lunch and get stoned, and it's just had a very negative impact. They've also seen an increase in traffic fatalities and hospitalizations due to marijuana. The other thing I think we have to understand is this isn't your grandfather's marijuana, which I would say is 3-2 beer. This is manufactured, highly potent, 151 proof rum marijuana. This isn't the same thing. This is a very dangerous drug. Now, I certainly understand taking the money away from the criminals, but it's getting in the hands of children in Colorado. That has been their experience, and they say, well, boy, we made $40 million in tax dollars. I don't think you can trade that $40 million for what it's done to their children. I would be opposed to it, and I would respectfully submit that given what it actually is, this is a very powerful drug now. I would be definitely opposed to it. Now, sentencing, frankly, the judges just don't send people to prison for marijuana anymore. It just doesn't happen anymore. Obviously, if there's a fatality in a marijuana-related accident, they go to prison, but we haven't seen that either. So sentencing on marijuana cases is almost always probation that involves some drug testing, and sometimes you can find these people have other drug problems, they just happen to get caught with marijuana, and they can go to the chance court.
Mr. Ferraro, your 1 minute response.
Yeah, and the use of marijuana, I feel, especially with young children, is a gateway drug, as far as I'm concerned. We're a very addictive society. Seems like alcohol, drugs, anything. There's something that everybody's addicted to. But with children, it seems like, okay, let's try this marijuana. Next thing you know, it's cocaine, and then next thing you know, that they're shooting up with heroin. We're seeing that, and that's why I'm against that. And the sentencing again, as my opponent said, and he's been with his clients that he knows they're not going to go to prison, and I don't think the state lawmakers are going to make any laws tougher for marijuana use, and I don't think that's something we're really worried about this time. I think if we are able to catch these kids early on in juvenile court with possession, get them some help and treatment to get off that, so they don't get addicted, it would be helpful.